Welcome to Authors Revealed. I'm Becky Anderson. I'm so excited. One of my favorite authors is here. It's Hervé Tullet, and his new book for children is called Let's Play. You gotta play with this one. Hervé, welcome back to Anderson's and to Naperville.
Thank you.
It's so wonderful to have you. And your new book, Let's Play, it's out, I think, just a week or so, isn't it? It's out in the world. Mm-hmm. So what are you hearing? Because I know you've done some school events for us and some other things. But what are you hearing from your youngest fans, plus your adult fans, on this new book?
I don't let them say something.
You want them to play.
I play with them,
right.
and this is the adventure, my own adventure, which is to create a book alone in my studio.
Right.
And this is the second part of the adventure, which means that I'm going in schools, I'm meeting people, and I try to figure out how this book will work for me. Mm-hmm. During my own readings, and I discover in another way the book I already done, and I discover how the children are incredibly precise. For example, when I say you just follow the line, and sometimes I draw just a teeny curve, and they follow the curve, and that's very moving just to see the relationship in between the finger and the line.
So I'm guessing when you're putting these books together, that you're having so much fun yourself. That I would guess that if it's not fun for you and you don't have fun playing with it, then the book wouldn't turn out as great. So I think you're probably laughing and having a great time when you're making these books.
Great time. There's always. There's great time, but it's a kind of energy, inner energy, and I'm waiting. I'm looking. I'm writing notes, but there is no books.
Yeah. Right.
So the great time is suddenly when it happened, when I know where I'm going.
Okay.
But then I have to draw it, and until you didn't finish the last drawing, the book is never finished.
Mm-hmm.
So the great time is a time of work.
Yes, right. Well, your work looks you make it so much fun for kids and adults when they're reading the books together.
So I have to add that sometimes in some of my books I really have great times because I have no rules. I just have to throw my brushes away, and when they fall down, the stains are just amazing for what I want to say. But sometimes the book is very precise in terms of timing to go from the beginning to the end. And this time I've got a frame, and I've got really to make sure that things are just fit absolutely perfectly with what I've got in mind.
Right.
So sometimes it's just really great time because it's just by chance.
Comes together.
Yeah.
Right.
But sometimes it's just straight.
Sure. This book was so much fun because besides, touching or pressing or rubbing, those things that you do in movement, there's also the sounds, the things that we can say, which makes it so much fun. So you're saying eek or zoom or shh or all those things. So was that fun to add those vocal things to the page on this one?
So this is my life. My life is I'm going in schools, I'm reading my books, and from books to books I discover my work in some ways, and how I play my work, how I act my work, and so on. So I know from layers and layers that I'm going to the sounds. Mm-hmm. So this book was a way to express my own previous experiences. So I'm into sounds for quite a very long time, and I go on exploring, experimenting that material, which is absolutely amazing, which is a vocabulary. I'm working on vocabularies.
Right, which is great for kids and
Babies.
Yeah, babies too. Oh, and that's why these books are so great for quite a span of ages. But putting that vocabulary in is so wonderful. I love the adventures of this little yellow dot, and I know this little yellow dot is this character that you've had and repeated in some of the books. But I love the page with the pow and the yuck page, where it looks a little like Jackson Pollock a little bit on there.
Yeah.
I mean, the art on that. But you add that just a little touch of scary there.
Yeah.
Which I love that, but it's not too scary. And the stairs, and you have to, in the darkness and everything. Because I think there's a really easy balance that you create in these books between the fun, the adventure, the just creating, but then adding that little bit of scary, but not too much. So is that hard to get the balance? Sometimes, like you say, sometimes creating books are the work, but then sometimes it just flows and it's so wonderful,
No, I wouldn't say it's hard.
Okay.
I would say it's about intuition.
Okay.
I would say my experience gave me and still give me a kind of intuition, and intuition is about the trust that children will take the thing in a good way. So I'm confident when I'm thinking about what the children will understand, will feel, because I think they could understand and feel so many things. So I feel confident. And also, it's a reading, it's a partnership with an adult and a child, someone who reads the book. So you can really put the balance where you want. When I'm reading the book in the tunnel, I'm doing some suddenly kind of electric wire stuff, and they react really. But I mean, we know that we could go out of the tunnel. So
the one page I really loved is when you say the dot's on your head, the yellow dot's on your head, so you have to shake it off. That when you first read that or presented that to kids, what was their reaction? Because that is such a fun page. After you go through the darkness and now the dot's on your head. So what was that like when kids are at that one page and they have to knock it off?
I mean, they're just. I don't know. I mean, I don't do an interview after. I just can feel that maybe they play the game. They know it's just a game, and they want to play it. I don't know. I mean, sometimes they will believe it, sometimes not. But I think they love to play the game. And this is really the game I wanted to test. The first, to try to go by myself or with my character and so on, to go just out of the book. It was really the main idea.
Yeah. All of your books with Press Here and Help We Need a Title and all those books, I have book talked them or told so many educators and teachers and adults and kids about your books. And what I always tell them, and this, I think you created a whole new genre. And these are books, such interactive books that need no batteries. They need no screens. They don't need to be recharged. But yet you get so involved. I mean, you become part of the book.
Yeah.
You are engaged that way in a physical and a vocal sense and everything. What was the spark, or what started your idea of creating books like this where the reader is as much the part of the book as the book itself?
I think maybe because for the very beginning I'm thinking that I'm a partner. I'm a partner with the teachers. I'm a partner with the librarians. I'm not thinking to the book as something completely done and finished. I'm thinking of the book as something we're going to engage a dialogue. I'm thinking of the book as an unfinished book. I'm thinking, I feel the idea is good if it's unfinished. I feel it's good if there is a space. And from the very beginning, I discovered that I was giving space, and this space created dialogue with the children, but dialogues with the teachers and librarians, dialogue with me and the teachers and librarians when I was in schools and doing works for long time, and for months, sometimes for years with the same school. And it gave me so much that I want to stay as a guy who give unfinished books. And I would just add that because the book is unfinished, I've got really great time to see how it could be finished in so many different situations, in so many different schools, or in so different countries, and so on.
Right.
So that's also a part of the interest,
Sure.
to see the end of it, or a version of it, or a work on it, and how it elicits so many works with teachers and librarians.
So in so many ways, children and teachers, librarians, they're the ones who complete the book.
Definitely.
Because it cannot be, it's not like one of these books that basically just sits there. This book has to be picked up and played with.
Definitely.
And interacted with.
And because of the low way I have to draw, it's not about the drawing stuff, so it's not impressive in terms of drawing, so you can go straight to the point. And I think my point is to go into the wonderful world of ideas.
I'm amazed that Press Here, one of your previous books, has been on the New York Times list for over 229 weeks.
Yeah.
That is just phenomenal, phenomenal. But it's also been translated into over 30 different languages.
It's translated everywhere in the world.
And I know you've been to many other countries and done workshops and everything with children. And knowing books like this, more than many other picture books or books for children, these books are so universal. So do you see what you're doing in the workshops and your interaction with kids and educators of any kind, that pretty much it doesn't matter what language in which they've been translated into?
That's why I'm reading it sometimes just with a sound. Beep, 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 beep. It works. I mean, I don't need more.
Yeah. So tell me, in your workshops, what do you do? Because I know you do some really big ones where there's some big art projects going on with children. Tell us what you do, because you do so many things. You are the clown, you are the mime, you are the actor. You are making these books so come alive.
Yeah.
And so tell us the kind of things you do in these workshops.
The workshop is also dialogue. I give pots, I give brushes, I give space, and I give prompts at the very beginning, very simple prompts about dots, circles, and so on. So they follow, sometimes not. Babies could play too. They follow the prompts or not. They are very, very simple. And I bring them into a kind of rhythm, a kind of dance. And then I explain a bit. I give away. I give an option. I say what we can do with what we have done with this stains, circles, dots, and so on. And then I put the music on, and they just do it. And it's just like a work on energy. I bring people to their own energy and their own freedom. And it's gone in a very, very moving way because it works very, very well. And everybody is involved, playing with the music, with the dots, with the circles, and so on. And it's, I always try to turn the workshop into something meaningful. It's not just like abstract stuff. It's turned always into something. You can draw monsters, you can draw forest, you can draw field of flower, or a lot of things. But it's always there's always a meaning, a target. I wrote a book about that called Art Workshop for Children. With Fiden. Where I describe precisely, because I can't do workshops everywhere. So I hope that this book is helpful, and it is. It works for some people who just want to do workshops.
Yeah. And I think what it does is it encourages kids that art takes many forms and that you shouldn't feel intimidated or just to have fun with it. Whereas I think sometimes art is taught in a different way that can kind of intimidate a child, but this way it's so much freedom and you make it so much fun.
Yeah. Thank you.
So tell us about your journey to publishing your first children's book, and that was in 1994.
Mm-hmm.
So what was it that, I know you were an art director for a long time.
Yeah.
So what took you to that point, and what happened that first book came out? And tell us about that first book.
I didn't want to be an art director anymore because I was thinking I was not growing older and very well as an art director. I hated the computers that were coming up. I hated the computers. My child, Wilborn, my first one. So I was thinking, okay, I will become an illustrator. And as an illustrator, I decided to try to do a book for children. And the first book, it's very, very strange in a way because I can read and I can explain this first book as if everything is already there. The first book is about a dialogue in between a child and an adult. The first book is about surprise when you turn the page. The first book is already, all the books are already inside this one. So I discover this dialogue with the first book. But when I say discover, it's because when you're doing a first book, you don't know what you are putting in. But so I would say that I learn from each book more than I teach.
Right.
And I learn from each book, and I think that each book brings me to the other one. And so from books to books, my mind is more and more aware of what I'm doing, but I'm still into looking for the new idea, the new one, the one never done before, never discovered by me first before.
Right.
And so I go on, and I'm still into this idea that there's someone I miss somewhere, and
Right.
I'm looking at it.
Right. So one book leads to the next, sort of those concepts and everything.
Yeah. So I told you in some ways I'm into sounds, and I want to confront myself more with this sound stuff.
Oh, ooh, can't wait. I love the book, Help, We Need a Title, because you put yourself in the book.
Yeah.
There's an actual photograph, and you're sort of incorporated into the illustration. Was that fun to put yourself in there as the author, the actual author?
This book was typically the fun book to do, because you don't have to draw. The less you draw, the more messy you draw, the better it is. So I just start from scratch, from the beginning, and I've been to the end, and I discover myself from the beginning to the end, trying to draw this pig, this princess, and so on. So it was just really, really funny.
It was funny
and meaningful, because one of my purposes, I mean, you can draw ideas. You don't need to be a good drawer to draw ideas.
Right,
and
right.
it's a kind of give a space, give a freedom, and I think this book is about that.
Yeah. Your dots and thinking about the Leo Leone book, Yellow and Blue, and how much was that an influence, and how much is color important to you? Because color seems so vibrant in all of your books.
No.
No?
I told you I'm not an illustrator. I'm not interested in colors.
Oh, okay.
So I choose the most obvious ones. So I have not to choose my purple or my pink or whatever, which could be a way to go back to illustration. So I choose the most basic colors. But to go back to Leonie,
Yeah.
I think that the first time I saw that book, I wanted to do it. I was jealous. I was jealous of the low, how simple it is just to take a rip paper, you know, and just put it on, and just to stick papers, and to bring a reader to think that this paper is crying because he loses his mother or is in big adventure and so on. So I was absolutely jealous, and jealous in a very good way. I mean, I it gave me a way to think that with such a simplicity you can go to something so sophisticated in some ways, and I love the how low simple it is. I love that, and I think it's very useful in the life to not to go to the very sophisticated stuff, but to try to just to look around you and to see with your eyes what is just around you, and it's a kind of education of the eyes.
Sure.
So I love that.
Yeah. You're known in France as the Prince of the Preschool book.
It's a journalist who says that.
Well, I think you're the prince of just books that are just so much fun, so much fun. But I think that's an interesting title that you got there. And you recently moved to New York City from Paris.
Yeah.
So how has that move been? And how is New York compared to Paris for someone so creative as you? How are you finding that?
So I had this idea that New York was the city of energy. I've been to New York several times. What was the energy? I mean, people walking faster than everywhere, so I wasn't really aware and about what was this energy. But now that I'm living in New York, I've got to a meeting, I'm going to a meeting, and when I'm going to a meeting, I look in a building and I saw Dubuffet, or I saw Fernand Léger, or the Wall of Berlin in some places. So I'm struck by art, architecture, and so on. Then I'm going to that meeting and the people told me, oh, that would be great if we can do something together. But you could also call this person or connect with this institution and so on. So when I go back home, I'm full of energy, and I draw, and I think, and I want to be ready for when the right thing will come to me.
Yeah.
So yes, I was traveling a lot when I was living in Paris, because Paris in some ways was too small, and I wanted to do stuff bigger, in a bigger way, and I think that so far, I think that the connection I've got with people will bring me to what I hope to do, which means big workshops, big residencies, and big adventure.
Yeah, right. So can you tell us a little bit, anything you're working on now, what might be the next book, or is that sort of hush-hush right now?
No, I'm not a totally secret guy, and so
I didn't think so.
I think that I don't copy myself. So if I say sound, it will. I think the book I have in mind is quite difficult to figure out.
All right, you have to see it and hear it.
Yeah,
right?
I draw a lot.
Yeah.
I draw a lot, and I hope I will do an exhibition next year in a installation in a space in New York. This is something I want to do, which is a way to speak about my work. It's not totally different. I hope I will. Yes, I hope I will. I will experiment all what I know in a bigger way, with more means, maybe more possibilities in terms of space and.
Okay.
Yeah, so I'm very excited.
Well, we can't wait to see.
Yeah.
So, Hervé, I end these interviews with a quick little quiz. So, whatever comes to mind first. Most of these are book related or art related. Okay. Do you remember a favorite book when you were a child?
No.
You don't?
That's maybe the revenge of it.
Okay. Do you remember a book or something, or even an artist that you absolutely loved when you were in university?
Matisse.
Okay. All right. How about, who is your favorite children's illustrator? I know it's hard to keep one. I know that's hard. Or a couple.
A couple.
Yeah.
I'm very traditional. Maurice Sendak, Tommy Ungerer. I think I want to be. I want to be a traditional illustrator.
Okay. If you could have a dinner and invite 3 people, alive or dead, authors, artists, who would those 3 be?
Okay.
I know, these are those fun questions. Okay.
I would invite Stravinsky, Igor
Ooh,
Stravinsky, and Miles Davis,
Okay.
and Jack Gantos.
Now I got to be at that one, especially the Jack
If you want to come, I don't know.
All right, I love that. That is fantastic. Okay, and do you remember a book with your children that you might have read when they were young, or you have a daughter that's living with you, and that you maybe read when they were very young that you enjoyed?
Oh, a
Doing
lot. But I would say that I enjoyed just start from scratch with nothing and start the story. I also created stories from magazines, looking from advertising to advertising and so on. A Jerome Bosch book, which is very scary, the hair and so on. But I mean, you can take everything and start and just choose a word and so on. That's
a lot of possibilities.
Yeah.
Okay, Hervé, thank you so much for sitting down with me, and thank you so much. We love to play with your books.
Thank you very much.
What a great conversation with French author and artist illustrator Hervé Tullet and his new book for children. It's called Let's Play. You've got to play with this one. Thanks for joining me on Authors Revealed.